Hello YouTube, I'm back with the next My Little Pony review, and today I'm reviewing The Ghost of Paradise Estate, which is a 4-part series of episodes, and you get a lot of new characters here, not just the ponies themselves, but you've got an octopus named Squirk, he's got an accomplice named Crank, who's a lobster, and the two of them kind of work together, although they're kind of the stereotypical. One's smart, the one's a complete idiot. Although, they're not a bad pairing. If you get used to it, Crank's laughter. I don't know. Even Squirt can't handle that laughter. But you get this episode, as the name suggests, the ponies end up having to deal with a ghost. But it turns out there's a little twist to that because it's actually not a ghost. It's actually the work of a peacock-like creature named Pluma, who is working for Squirk because her grandfather is held captive. Now, whether or not she is having trouble speaking in general, or whether she's just speaking in fear, because she ends up, having trouble getting her words out, and I feel it may be more of fear than just general talking, but I don't know for sure. But they end up finding a pendant called the Flash Stone, which is actually in two halves because of how dangerous it was. And they were both separated because of a disaster that happened a long time ago where Squirk actually had control, and Ponyland, as they call it back then, was basically underwater. And Squirk basically wants to bring that back, so he has to get both halves of the pendant. And obviously the ponies and Pluma have to get it back from find it first. But the interesting thing is the halves can actually work by themselves even if it's not a full recovery, because although Pluma doesn't like what she was doing, she ends up helping to at least, because they take away Paradise Estate to find the first half, but then to kind of compromise that, saying, okay, I made a mistake, I didn't really mean to do this to you guys, it was kind of out of my hands here. She ends up restoring at least half of Paradise Estate, so that's good. At least got that much out of the way. They do find the other half, but then so does Squirk. Squirk ends up getting it first and ends up at least flooding it. He doesn't fully get it, as I recall, but even if he did, he ends up losing it. Not to mention dealing with Crank's antics, either for being just totally stupid or just being annoying, but either way, I think we got some familiar voice actors between those two. If you listen, because I seem to remember them being used elsewhere. So this is probably where they started. This is probably when they were starting actor careers. But they do end up getting it back. But it's interesting. I would not have guessed that the Ghost of Paradise Estate would have been actually sort of a shapeshifter, I think she called herself. But I do relate to Megan to some extent. I mean, I may believe in ghosts, but I'm not just gonna out of the gates, just because I hear a bump in the night, it means I'm going, oh, must be a ghost. I'll actually investigate it first, and that's what she did. Granted, she didn't see anything, so I'd personally be like, okay, I'll keep an eye on it, see if I see it myself, instead of just outright saying they don't exist. Now, yeah, you probably don't believe in them. That's fine. I'm not expecting anyone to believe in them the way I do, but it's definitely, that twist definitely threw me for a loop. I didn't expect that at all. And she turned out to be a nice character, even though obviously for someone who just basically tried to get you out of the house, you wouldn't want to trust her right away, and they didn't. She got stuck in a tree, so she couldn't get out and had to kind of eventually revert to her form. So it's not a bad episode if you can or series of episodes if you can handle all that. But yeah, Squirt ends up winning for a while, so it's not like a one episode deal. It's actually broken up into 4. You will have to obviously, as I said, doing those two villains as characters, bickering back and forth, but actually getting somewhere eventually. So they do end up trapping the ponies eventually. So it's a pretty decent episode. I would definitely give it a watch if you can't handle the 10 parts of the first 10 episodes of the series. So that's my review on the Ghost of Paradise Estate episodes. Thanks